we established the Millennium Community Development Initiatives, MCDI, in 2005, actually not 2015, but 2005, specifically to work with our own communities along the Athi River, because personally I was born, and my early days, I hail from Kiambu County, which is the upper catchment of the Athi River, and I've grown up in Nairobi County, and right now I reside in Kajiado County. And we then started working with communities, linking them with each other, assisting them to form water resource users associations, like the Ondire wetland has the Water Resource Users Association called the Onkaru. This is a very critical wetland for the Nairobi River. Also, the Mbagathi Water Resource Users Association, where we are working with the community upstream, the Goto Forest, and where the river flows. The Mbagathi River actually flows and forms the southern boundary of the Nairobi National Park. So we link the communities, we help them understand the importance of the resource, like the forest. It's a catchment forest, and we then also help them even come visit the Nairobi National Park to see that their work they are doing upstream helps the communities, not just the communities, but also the wildlife. So just a bit of a background. So because of those experiences, and also my experiences as an independent consultant, monitoring and evaluation and natural resource management consultant, the areas we found with sources of conflicts can be grouped roughly into at the individual level. Actually, at the individual level, if there's only one bottle of water and the two of us are thirsty, who will get that bottle of water? Already there's a negotiation that goes into that. So right at the individual level, at the household level, and then at the community level, the rural, urban, and to quote my friend Peter, the cities tend to be parasites. They parasite on the rural areas for resources. And that's going to be a big part of my presentation. And I will show you exactly how you are contributing to water stress and lack of water in another part of Kenya. You who lives in the city or who visits the city are part of the problem. And I'll show you exactly how. So then at the basin level, upstream, downstream, at administrative levels, the boundaries we inherited, the boundaries we've created ourselves, they cause certain issues and conflicts. And in our case, we have the counties, but also in other places, the provinces, regions. So those are the issues. These sources of conflict, without going into each individual ones, I'll use examples to illustrate issues such as your sense of entitlement to the water can create conflict. I'll also use some examples to show you that the existing policy and legal frameworks and how they can help ameliorate conflicts, or they can be the sources of the conflicts. So at the international level, we've had, yesterday we had very detailed and very informative presentations on at the international level, including about the Nile Basin, so I won't go into that. I will focus more on at the local up to national level. So at the household level, when you look at that picture, you see that young girl, it's her duty to collect water for the family. And those women, at least they have donkeys to help them to fulfill their gender roles. And then in the last picture, you have the woman collecting the water, and you have the men sitting up, just chilling, idling. But we also forget that the men also have the responsibility of making sure the livestock is watered. So these roles are separate, and they're not always in conflict. But sometimes we, even as outsiders, can make it look like that's a lesser role or that's a more important role. And that can be where the conflict starts. Because when you have communities that agree that with these our different roles, how do we look out for you and you look out for me? We did a community video project where we gave women, men, and youth videos in Ijara County. That is it's an arid area. And the women said they would really love for more water points and water pans to be made near their village, because that would mean the men would not need to go very far away to look for water. And then the men could help them also, like especially with disciplining boys. We women struggle disciplining boys, and it's always better when we have a male figure in the home to help us with such. So these issues, if they are reconciled, it can be a place of peace and even harmony. At the community level, we see a major dichotomy when it comes to need for water for commercial use and for domestic use. And commercial use can include up till supplying people with water. Nairobi is full of water cartels. Men have known it, I have revealed to you. Areas that before used to get supply, Nairobi city water supply, have been cut off. And you're cut off, and then the same water, the cartels, is brought to you in a bowser for much more. The second picture you see is a very important person. I won't mention his name because the Kenyans would know him, and I'm not here to badmouth anybody, had actually built out across a river in Kiambu County, and they built this wall to dam the water, to use the water to water their flowers, their roses for the export market. It's a well-known rose brand. And the communities immediately after the wall had no water, just to water their gardens. When we posted this picture on social media, one of the people from that company came to, defend themselves. And we were like, isn't it what you've done? So eventually they broke that wall. So that is why collective advocacy, it does make a difference. Don't ever underestimate a small post you do on social media, because it makes a big difference, and we can illustrate. So the water cartels are a big problem in the cities, not just in Nairobi, but in many cities. So another issue is water in and of itself comes with so many other issues. A big issue which our colleague Halinishi, Peter knows Halinishi very well. She's from Makueni County. So she's studying, that's her research topic for her PhD at Newcastle University. And it is because the conflict between commercial sand harvesting with the big lorries for the cities, for construction in the cities, is damaging the ability of those rivers to collect water, the water that they use to supply the cities. So that tank you see there has holes, and the water drains into the tank, and that is the water that is pumped to supply Water Town, which is the Makueni County's capital town. So when you have too much sand harvesting, it then destroys that capacity. But you can manage the two. But you need to first acknowledge that those two are claims to the sand, which then means they affect the water. And okay, another very interesting issue, which and a lot of Kenyans somehow, they don't know, is where salt comes from. When you go to Kilifi County, in Malindi, there are 6 salt extracting companies. And they extract the soil by making the lagoons, and those lagoons eventually concentrate the soil, the water, the salt levels go really high, and eventually communities scoop the salt. There's a lot of human rights abuses in those salt factories. not just the human rights abuses directly of the workers, but the salt then sometimes intrudes into the fresh water wells that the communities use, and the wells become saline. Whole villages have been forced to relocate because of salt intruding into their freshwater wells. Yeah, and then it also destroys the mangroves. There you see me with a whole area with mature mangroves that were killed by the salinity. Another issue is that the fish also get destroyed because of the salinity. So when you're looking at issues of water and security and peace, you need to start casting the net even broader. So with regards to the global level, water privatization is a reality. It is coming. It is here. Watch Blue Gold Rush. The global pursuit of water wealth is on YouTube, and it shows how water has been listed on the Australian Stock Exchange as a commodity. So please watch that documentary, because our colleague from the Dakar Hub told us that next to Africa, Oceania is the other very dry continent. They are coming for our water. Private sector knows Africa has a water issue, and they're coming and they're privatizing our water. In Nairobi, we already have what is called the Nature Conservancy Nairobi Water Fund. In Cape Town, they are targeting Cape Town. In Bulawayo, there are pushes to privatize water because they know those are water-stressed cities, and there's money because Nairobi is an international hub. So those are the realities that we're looking at. And that's a big topic, but it's a topic, are we talking about, is water a human right, or is water a commodity, or is it both? So we work together as the Athi River Community Network. This is us in our forest to do joint advocacy. And today, because I come not just on my own behalf, but on behalf of those who are suffering within our basin, I'd like us to talk to watch a short video on the Roiro Dam. And please ask yourself, we are here solving international water conflicts, but how can we solve the conflict that is happening today because of the city of Nairobi and its impact in this area around Roiro Dam? When we finish, I'd really like us to see how to help this lady. She's called Nyambura. The one who comes, you'll see her with the jerry cans to draw water. Nyambura, ironically, means person who was born during the rain, but she has no access to water because of you. You're given first priority in your fancy hotels, in your swimming pools. And because of that, Nyambura has no water. Thank you. Please play the video.
क्या दूध aku saya nada ada sedikit saya tidak mahu nada aku mau jadi di rumah saya bilang we don't have to fix community from that break. So what I would say is maybe someone will talk to those people and maybe have a way to convince them and let us use the resources from the rate. And I think our race would be at least better and you wouldn't have so much problem. Tapi apa yang penting lain makin kita tahu lagi tiada kahwa lagi orang itu sebenarnya makinnya atau kali itu lagi kalau orang yang kamu itu guna fokusnya berdena kau fokusnya lebih tinggi itu kalau fokusnya mono nanti ini orang mulai mono orang kalau kita mau guna fokusnya lebih tinggi kau mono pasar yang saya siapkan nanti mono fokusnya lagi kalau dulu aku orang kayak saya mau ke lihat polisi ada tu será ada tu dia ada polisi yang mana tu aku lihat itu luar tu orang luar apa orang lalu dulu aku polisi itu nama itu kita ada jadi kalau aku orang lalu lihat dulu aku kan nah kuri mereka ada tujuan itu mana orang de kuliah orang nasi lagi na kamu bilang kita ini mani kayak orang ada mulu itu mulai kita kalau di dalam mulu terus kita tuh mana tuh nama itu mereka dan siu nah dia itu orang apa tujuan apa bukan ini mungkin itu mati dia dosen dalam nama ini kenapa ini orang mampu ekor ini dalam dia lagi Jadi kita cerita dengan itu ekutnya, ni ekutnya juga. Maksudnya mai itu jadi mai itu juga aku, karena mai itu jadi mana. Terus kita pulang, ada yang